Feeling good today, guys. Feeling very good. Looking forward to today's video. Today's video request is from a good friend on Instagram, and they wanted me to talk a little bit about my hypnotherapy experience. Something that I was very, very skeptical at going into it, but has proven to be absolutely life-changing. I will also be leaving a link in the description for today's video on the hypnotherapist that I personally used. She's an absolute diamond, so if you are looking at hypnotherapy, please consider her because she's incredible. When I opened Pandora's box, so to speak, last year, and I had my mental breakdown, I went through tons of mental health systems in the UK to try and get support. And for anybody out there who is trying to get support on mental health in the UK, it is nightmarishly hard. And I really feel for you because it took me weeks and weeks and weeks being bounced between different departments, different systems, different parts of the NHS, different private organisations. It was a nightmare. I was speaking to a friend and I explained the whole situation to them. And they suggested that I got in touch with one of their friends who was a hypnotherapist. And they claimed that hypnotherapy can be such a powerful way to deal with trauma because it allows you to sort of go back to the event, revisit it, and start to unpack some of the emotions and things in it. So you're not sort of, it's not as hidden anymore. I'll be honest, I was really, really skeptical because from my point of view, I thought, if I'm having to go and deal with a problem that has been in my life for so long, that feels so complicated to me, it's going to require a miraculously complicated solution. That's the really funny thing about the solution. It wasn't necessarily complicated. It was very, very simple. I've just realized I've got the screen poking out, so I'm just going to... Sometimes I get halfway through the videos and the screen's still poking out. I'm trying to point it because otherwise I'm not addressing you guys. I'm addressing myself and I flick between the two. So I got in touch with her. I told her about my situation, about sort of coming to the realization that I was living with complex PTSD, that I had some serious buried trauma that I needed to sort out. We did a session together and all I can say is it's very hard to explain. Basically, she got me into a state of hypnosis that allowed her to directly interface with my subconscious. And I was quite in awe of what was happening. On the surface, it seemed very, very simple. She wasn't necessarily doing like super complicated voodoo or, you know, some kind of practice that seems so bizarre or, you know, it all looks very, very simple. Almost like, okay, this makes sense. You know, what you're talking about, where you're taking me on makes a lot of sense. But deep down, there are so many things that are being reconfigured. What her hypnotherapy did was it allowed me to access the parts that my subconscious was still blocking off, because trauma is a complicated one. Trauma basically gets locked. It stays with you, right? Because the present moment is the only thing that's actually real in life. If something happens in the past and you've buried it, it's not gone and it's not in the past. That's an idea that you've got about it. It's with you right now because the now is the only thing that exists. It gets completely shielded and buried and it almost hangs like a shadow over you, but you push it back, right? And what hypnotherapy does is it allows you to kind of confront that head on. For anybody who is in this position who wants to face their past or deal with trauma or deal with, you know, who's scared of things like hypnotherapy, I just want to say this. I appreciate it can be quite scary. Facing your darkest demons and facing yourself is probably one of the scariest things you will have to do in this life, right? Because there is nothing more scary than facing the unknown. There aren't clear defined boundaries when it comes to your own internal trauma and your demons, and that's why they're scary. Here's the beautiful thing that I think is always an important reminder is if you genuinely believe that you can face your demons down, you will face your demons down, because your demons will trick you into thinking they're the more powerful ones. They're not. You are, because you give life to those demons in the first place, right? You are consciousness that gives those demons, that gives those challenging memories life. Oh, hang on. If you are so scared of facing your demons, a good way to look at it is recognize that those demons can't survive without you, but you can survive without them. You can always have the confidence that no matter how scary it will be, no matter how challenging, no matter what you've got to face inside yourself, you are stronger than it. And the fear that's created in facing that is only the demons trying to snarl you off, or that trauma trying to snarl you off. The problem with carrying trauma around in your life is it will affect your capability of what you want to do, or where you want to go, or what you think you can do. Because trauma affects your lens and your perception of reality. And if you carry it around with you, it will affect what you think you can be, what's possible in your future. If there's certain things that you really want to do, but you keep finding yourself self-sabotaging against it, that could be your demons coming in and cutting up where your heart truly wants to go. And that's why, especially in my journey, I only managed to get to a certain point, and then I had to face my demons because they were getting in my way, right? The trauma from my past I was eventually confronted with. And the irony was I was always visualizing myself in this narrative battle, and that the future would hold all my answers. I keep working hard, I'll get to the future, and everything will fix itself. And if I can make my company, successful, and if I can achieve all these things, everything will get better and better. And do you know the funny thing is, the further I got down the line, the more desperate I became. The better things got, the more desperate I became. So the more I ran into the future, the more I wanted to run into it quicker and quicker and quicker, until it completely burnt me out. If you feel in your life that you have a desire to run to the future, to find happiness in the future, to find this peace, to find whatever it is, recognize that you could have a demon behind you that's chasing you there. If you are chased by anything terrifying in a dream, that fear, that thing that's chasing you doesn't want you to know that you are stronger than it. It uses that lowest form of vibration to effectively push you into doing things, rather than wanting to do things from a higher vibration, from a position of love. You're doing them from fear, because you think the thing that's chasing you is bigger than you. Appreciate that's quite a rabbit hole over all the stuff with hypnotherapy, but it's important because one of the biggest things that I think people are scared of when it comes to hypnotherapy, myself included, is facing these demons. And facing your demons is, don't get me wrong, it's not an easy feat. Otherwise everybody would do it. But it's a clear reminder you can do it. And remember, the thing that's telling you can't do it, if you feel that way, is your demons themselves. So to summarize then, hypnotherapy has been an amazing experience for me because it allows you to directly interface with your subconscious. And interfacing with your subconscious is something that does bring up hidden things, maybe things that you can be quite scared of, or worried, or you have some trepidation on. But by doing that, one, you recognize that your fears are far less than your demons will make them out to be, because that's how they gain strength over you. And two, it allows you to make the things that that sort of lurk in the background clear and known to you, so you can actually face them head on. Because like in a horror movie, what's a more scary monster? The one that you can see, or the one that's always off screen? And it's the one that's always off screen, because the imagination can always create a more fucked up picture than what could be created and visualized on a screen, right? Imaginations are powerful, and when used against you, they can really, really affect your ability to overcome and surmount that fear. Hope that was helpful for anybody who's interested in hypnotherapy. I'll be back for a new video next week. It feels so good to be doing this again. As each video goes on, it gets a little bit easier every single time to step back in front of the camera and do this. And it's been wonderful. It's been a huge part of my journey and my recovery. And I'm really excited to continue to watch how this grows and evolves. I've noticed a huge difference between the production of these videos versus some of my old content, which with Coaction Collective, which even though it was very, very high on production value, it was burning me out and it was stressing me out. And this just feels like such a wonderful, I don't know, it's just like such a wonderful hobby at the moment. I really, really enjoy it. And I hope that anybody who's watching it, you know, you get something from it too. I'm also open to suggestions. I'm open to feedback. When a channel is in its early stages, like there's so many directions it could go, and you guys might have ideas that I can implement that I haven't even thought about. So that's why it's so important for that feedback. And I really appreciate every ounce of it. Right. I'm going to stop babbling. Have a cracking day. Thank you very much for joining me. And yeah, I'll see you next week.